Some of you may go on to lead successful careers in the world, but I would venture to guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. I can tell you that my beautiful wife, Isabel, would be the first to say that her life truly started when she began living her vocation as a wife.
Things you couldn't pay me any amount of money to give a fuck about, the birthrate crisis. Birthrate crisis? That's a made-up problem that billionaires invented. Like, what average regular civilian is sitting around thinking about the declining birth rate?
We want to have at least 7 kids, hopefully 12 more, but I'm limited by the number of kids I can have because I, at this point, can only have C-section. I am 100% willing to put my life on the line to have more kids.
So let me say very simply, I want more babies in the United States of America.
Having a child is what will make you happier than anything else in your life ever.
I was not prepared in motherhood. I feel so fucking trapped. I want to break. As parents, like, until you're doing it, you don't realize how fucking hard it is. And I feel so much guilt. I'm overwhelmed. And I need a minute.
Welcome back. So this week I wanted to talk all about the weird world of pronatalism, and I also wanted to talk about child-free existences and like the rise of child-free content and why I think that's a really, really good thing. I also wanted to talk about, does motherhood equal happiness for women? Like, what does the data say? Like, what do the studies say? I also wanted to talk about why feminism is being blamed on the declining birth rate rather than the actual reasons why there's a decline in the birth rate. And I also wanted to talk about when in nature, a lot of times animals will know when it's not safe to give birth, if there's not enough resources, if there's not enough space, if there's not enough food, if everything is overcrowded, if they know that the conditions are not favorable to bring children into the world. A lot of animals will intentionally choose not to reproduce that year. They will come back next year and try again. That's ultimately why I think most people who are choosing to stay child-free are choosing to stay child-free. But anyway, also just wanted to say that I haven't been here in a few weeks, and yeah, life has been lifing and I have been going through it, and this is like my third time trying to record this video because I keep crying. So yeah, anyway, bear with me. Yeah, I want to get back into doing these videos and getting back into doing my stuff again or whatever, but yeah, haven't been great, so sorry, whatever. Anyway, ignore the mess in the background. Anyway, let's go. So before I say anything and before we react to any videos or we talk about anything, I wanted to say that I'm not pronatal and I'm not against having children. I'm neither of these things. I am not pro women having as many babies as possible, and I'm also not against women choosing to have children or people choosing to have families. I'm not for or against either of those things. I think what I am in favor of is people having access to information and people making decisions based on what's best for them, not what they think society wants, or not what they've been conditioned to believe that they should do or whatever, or not giving into any pressure from their families or whatever. I think the best thing is information and people having access to information and making the decision with the information, informed decisions about what is best for them and what is best for their life. So that's what I think is the best. And I have a child. So before I get accused of being like a baby hater or like someone who's against having children or whatever, before anyone says anything, I literally have a child. I have a 12-year-old child. I love being a mom, but I would never push that on anyone else just because I love being a mom, and I don't have any regrets about having a child. He's 12 now. I would never project that onto other people, being like, well, I didn't know what happiness was until I had my kids, so your life is going to be meaningless and empty if you don't have kids. No, you will not hear that coming out of my mouth. In fact, having a child has shown me why a lot of people don't want to do it. I understand it. It doesn't mean that they hate my child. It doesn't mean that I hate my child. I understand that a lot comes with motherhood and a lot comes with raising children. And I understand if people don't want to do that and they would choose something else. Like, I completely understand that too. Just because it works for me and I love being a mom does not mean that I think everyone on earth should be a mom either. So there are people on the internet who are trying to influence women to have as many babies as possible. These, like, you know, Christian nationalist, freaking trad wifey people, or just the flat out pronatalist people who are trying to convince women to have as many babies as possible. There are also people on the internet who are trying to convince women to not have any children. And I think the best thing for women to do, or for anyone to do who's thinking about having a family, is to get as much information as possible and make a decision based on what's best for you. Not what influencers are saying, not what weird religious freaks are saying or politicians are saying. Like, do what is best for you. But anyway, so we're going to start with talking about the pro-natalist movement and what that is and what that means. So being a pro-natalist has nothing to do with just wanting to have children or just like a natural desire to have a family or thinking that babies are really cute and that you love children. That's not what pronatal means. Like, a lot of people just have an ordinary desire to have children and want to be moms or dads or whatever and have a family. That is not what pronatal means. Pronatalism is basically an ideology that's rooted in politics, economics, and sometimes religion too. The thing that bothers me though is because it has its roots in politics, religion, and the economy, that's never how it's hardly ever how it's framed. We see the Quiverful movement, which is like the LDS church, the Mormons or whatever, and they have loads and loads and loads of families. So that is definitely centered around religion and what their religious beliefs entail or whatever. But a lot of the times it is always framed, a lot of the times it's framed as being a woman's highest purpose or being the thing that will make the woman happiest on earth, even though there's ulterior motives, there's political motives, and there's also economic motives. But they're always trying to frame it as, this is going to make you happiest. This is the thing that will fulfill your purpose or whatever. Like, you won't be living your full, truest, happiest potential unless you have children or as many children as possible. And that's what bothers me, to be honest. That's what actually really bothers me, is that they're worried about the economy or politics or losing their place as the majority race in America or in whatever other countries. Most of these are from America, like, shocking. But anyway, that's what bothers me, is that there's always roots to it. But what they're showing you, or what they're trying to tell you, is that it is your ultimate purpose as a woman and it's the thing that will make you happiest and stuff. And anyway, let's get into it. So some of the biggest people who are like pronatalist are like Elon Musk, JD Vance, and I can't remember the guy's name, but the guy who invented ChatGPT. So there's a lot of politicians involved, obviously conservatives. There's a lot of tech bro billionaire kind of players as well. And this is the thing that, like, I'm like suspicious about, is like, if you are actively taking away women's rights, if you're actively banning abortion, making it way harder to access contraception, if you are literally taking away women's right to choose what they want to do with their bodies or what's best for them, and then you're also pushing this idea and trying to convince women that they will be happiest. We're just worried about you. We're just thinking about you. We just want you to be happy. We're doing this for you. We just want you to be happy. We're only thinking about you. It's like, no, those are two massively, wildly contradicting actions to be taking. On one hand, you're taking away women's rights. And on the other hand, you are trying to convince women that this is the thing that will make them happiest. I don't believe you. I'm suspicious. Another thing that annoys me about this pronatalist movement is that people will try and push this idea of have as many babies as possible. We want more babies in America. We want more white babies specifically, because they're worried about like the immigrants coming over and having more babies than like white people. But they will take away women's rights, make it harder to access abortions, make it harder to access contraception, and then push so much into this like pro-natalist agenda to convince women to have all these children, but will never, ever, ever make any changes that will make motherhood more desirable for women. They will never include any sort of affordable housing or actual maternity leave or reducing their hospital bills or making it free to have a baby at all, or like anything. They never, ever, ever are trying to talk about how they could make the woman or the parent or whatever feel more supported, because they don't actually care about the mother. They don't actually care about how you are going to survive that financially and mentally, emotionally, physically. They don't actually care about your body. They don't actually care about your mind or your happiness at all. They literally just want more babies to be born. So we're going to react to some of the there's this couple called, sorry, I can't remember their names. There's this couple called I can't remember, Michael and Sherry or something, and they are the leading, loudest voices in this kind of pro-natalist movement online anyway, like obviously taking away from any sort of like political figures or whatever. So this couple have like 4 children and they've got 5 on the way, and they've obviously taken a little page out of Elon Musk's book, because they call their kids like the weirdest fucking names ever, and they want to have as many children as possible. They also have a podcast, but I haven't listened to their podcast because even just watching a few TikToks of these people was enough for me, and listening to them talk for more than 60 seconds I don't think is an option. So
I'm pregnant with kid number 5. Our oldest kid is 5 years old. His name is Octavian. Then we have Torsten, Titan, Industry, and soon our little baby Tex.
Kids do not exist for our pleasure, right? If you want that, get a pet. Kids, we have to pay to the future the debt we owe the past.
We want to have at least 7 kids, hopefully 12 more, but I'm limited by the number of kids I can have because I, at this point, can only have C-section. I'm 100% willing to put my life on the line to have more kids.
So let's just pause there for a sec. She said she is 100% willing to put her life on the line in order to have more children. So she is willing to leave this herd of children without a mother in pursuit of one more baby that could potentially kill her. That is just like, that makes no sense. So she loves children so much, but she's willing to leave them behind without a mom. I'm not sure about that one. That one does not really make sense to me anyway. That doesn't make sense. But
a lot of groups today are just not going to be represented in the future, and that is a tragedy that we are looking at. And what we are out there trying to do is to get as many people to say, okay, let's try to make my family culture high fertility.
There are racist groups that call themselves pronatalists, but they're not. They're white nationalists.
so he said a lot of groups won't be represented in the future. What kind of groups are you worried about not being represented in the future? That's what I'm curious about, because a lot of these people as well will, as we'll see, they will talk about how immigrants are having more babies than white people and how the marginalized people need to get back in the margins. So there is an element as well of white supremacy to not, I'm sure not all of them are that flavored or whatever, but it's just why are you so worried about white people going down in numbers? Why are you so concerned about white Americans potentially not being the majority and not having the like dominance or whatever in numbers? It's just so fucking weird and it's so fucking bizarre. And yeah, he's not like saying that explicitly, but it's certainly implied.
So pronatalist just believes that the future is bright, humanity is good, and everyone should, if they want to, have children. Our primary means of raising awareness about demographic collapse has involved making people angry, making people outraged, because that's the only way they're going to take this issue seriously. Governments will literally fail to be able to take care of the most vulnerable people in their society. Also, I think we just enjoy trolling people,
So I have heard that argument before while I was researching like the pro-natalist movement or whatever. I have heard that argument of there isn't going to be enough young people to look after an aging population if not enough people are having babies. There's a very clear like solution to that problem, which is immigration, basically, to let people move around freely and to let people who want to have children have more children without trying to brainwash the white women or whoever that don't actually want to have children or have decided that the conditions are not favorable to bring children into this world or into that country. But a lot of these people, shocking, a lot of these people are not pro-immigration and are not pro other ethnicities having children or being the caretakers. So that's I know it's shocking, it's wild, but this her here with this bonnet, look in the background of this, there's a gun on the wall behind her. And did you notice the Trump flags as well? In their first interview there was like Trump flags, but anyway, let's keep watching.
Helps.
It is obviously a little bit Handmaid's Tale. Is that kind of
100%, absolutely. And it's funny because, I mean, this is the only way we can avoid a Handmaid's Tale future is for feminists to have more kids. And yet they use pronatalism as like, oh, well, I would never, I'll never have kids.
So that's Simone and Michael. And they're the most like loud people or whatever online on TikTok and stuff and on YouTube. So they've been interviewed a lot in the pronatalist movement and any of the documentaries or the news coverage things that I saw, like most of the times they kind of made an appearance. So they do seem to be the loudest or the most online or whatever. And she did say that they like trolling people. So they're obviously trying to be intentionally controversial, like her with her little Handmaid's Tale bonnet on it, just like leaning into the whole the whole whatever. It's just so American, just her there talking about her children called Industry Titanicus or whatever, and she's there with her Handmaid's Tale bonnet on with the gun in the background and the Trump flag.
You care about looking like good people and being praised by society, and I think frankly it's disgusting, and I'm glad you're going extinct. It sort of portrays or gives away the lie of the urban monoculture or of left-wing culture, which is it will say something like, I care about poor people and vulnerable populations, and then we point out, well, then why don't you care that the welfare system's going to break down if this fertility thing keeps going? Or they'll say, oh, we are anti-eugenicists, and I'm like, well, then why are you acting exactly like the eugenicists of the past? Why is it that you can freak out that and the reason we initially used this technology was just because watching Simone's mom die of cancer, and we're like, well, we don't want our kids to be subject to that, or at least lower the probability, and we also have these other genetic things we can look at while we're doing that. Why are you freaking out about us and not? The last time I was in London, I saw a giant mob of people walking down the streets shouting from the river to the sea, basically kill all Jews. Why are you not freaked out about that, and you're freaked out about our personal fertility decisions? It's because it's all performative. You guys don't actually care about helping the needy. You guys don't actually care about doing what's right. You care about looking like good people and being praised by society. And I think, frankly, it's disgusting, and I'm glad you're going extinct.
They are obviously not pro-Palestine as well. So they think that saying from the river to the sea is a call to kill all Jews. So that just gives you another bit of context to the flavor of person that these people are. And also from my like, I'm not American and I like whatever, but from what I've seen, most conservatives don't give a shit about people who are on the welfare system. Most conservatives do not want to help war veterans or disabled people or single moms. Are you actually trying to say that conservative people care more about the welfare system than people who are choosing not to have children? That's kind of insane.
Do you both hit the children?
You as a parent are responsible for raising emotionally robust children. So it's not meant to cause pain. It's meant to show boundaries have been crossed.
For our rough and tumble kids, it totally is what works.
This was in the Guardian profile because I was going to reach it at some point. It's the awkward question I have to ask because, of course, the Guardian profiler noticed that you hit your child when you were with them, Malcolm. And I want to hear about that as well. Why do you choose to use corporal punishment on your children?
So one, if you look at the research these days, we know that it doesn't have negative effects. You can look at the 2023 study, Don't Throw the Baby Out with the Bathwater. If you read the piece, you see what happened is to ensure that I didn't emotionally yell at him or get angry with him, I immediately, after lightly hitting him, hug him and say, you're loved. Daddy loves you, but you can't do this. I was able to show him he had violated a rule. I show him that he had done something wrong without making him feel as if he was being rejected by me, the parent.
What does that sound like? What does that sound like if someone hurts you, intentionally hurts you? First of all, that's abuse. Just hitting your child is abuse. Intentionally hurting someone is abuse. But the next aspect adds another layer to it. You're hitting your child and then you're saying, but I love you. That is pure abuse and that fucks people up. I promise you. I'm not going to look at that study. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I am not going to look at something that says that it's okay to abuse children. I don't care. Sorry, I don't care. You're intentionally hitting your child, causing them pain, but then saying, but I love you. So you're teaching your child, if someone hurts me, it's okay because I know that they love me. Anyone that's been in an abusive relationship is going to get triggered by this. Being hurt in some way, physically, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, whatever, and then the other person being like, but I love you, and you've got this constant push pull. It's really confusing and it's really head fucky and it leaves lasting effects. Now imagine your parent doing that to you. You're going to grow up and think that this is completely fucking normal. You're going to grow up and think that it's normal for people to treat you that way. And you're also going to grow up thinking that it's normal to treat other people that way.
And I can look at these new, gentler parenting techniques, and as they've become more common in our society, mental health has dramatically declined. And the groups that practice them the most have the worst mental health of any group in our society right now. If you remove all negative stimuli from a kid's life, they're going to hypersensitize to the negative stimuli. Mm-hmm. And then you get things like trigger warnings where they can't even, while learning, run across, something that might emotionally inconvenience them. And then they become adults and they live in these online bubbles where they're just living in constant anxiety and constant depression spirals because they don't know how to deal with this stuff. You as a parent are responsible for raising emotionally robust children. So it's not meant to cause pain. It's meant to show boundaries have been crossed. And I think we as a society, if we're going to get a robust and flourishing and vitalistic society again, we need to get in touch with parenting techniques that raise not unagentic children, but robust and vitalistic and flourishing children that can deal with the challenges that they're going to face in their life.
A couple of questions just out of curiosity. Do you both hit the children, or is it your role, Malcolm, to give them that corporal punishment?
Yeah, I wouldn't describe it so much as hitting as like a paw swipe when our kids do stuff that's dangerous and they're not listening to repeated spoken warnings, and it's directly related to their safety. This is actually pretty fairly rarely done, and really only with kids at this one stage where they're not verbal enough to really have logical conversations about the danger of things. But we absolutely both do it. For our rough and tumble kids, it totally is what works.
So she just admitted that they hit their children at one stage of their child's development, which is where the children don't have verbal cognitive understanding of what they're saying, what she's saying. So your children are not old enough yet to understand words. So they're not even doing anything wrong because they don't even know, because they can't understand the words that you're saying yet. And your response to them doing something wrong or being bold or whatever, when I'm sure they're just being children, is to hit them. And they don't even understand. So even when you hit them and then you say, but I love you, they don't even understand that because you've just admitted that they're not at the level yet of understanding verbal words. And also she was like, it's for their safety. We're just hitting them so that they don't hurt themselves. It's like, so you're scared that your child is going to do something that will hurt them. So you just step in and hurt them first so that they learn not to do the thing that's going to cause them. No, make it make sense. Literally make it make sense. Yeah, I don't know. You're scared that your child is going to hurt themselves. They can't understand English yet. So you just step in and hit them so that they don't hurt themselves. Okay. Okie dokie. We're gonna watch the ad that I think it was for Pronatal or for NatalCon 2024 or 2023, and apparently the tickets for this were like thousands of dollars, and only men went because all the women were at home having children, and they had this like dating thing where you were supposed to meet people who you could have loads of children with or whatever, people who had like the similar mindset than you, and it literally was just like a room full of fucking weird men. But anyway, this is the ad that they created for NatalCon. So let's watch the ad and then we can talk about it.
Princella, you don't have any kids.
I do not. That has helped me succeed as well. Some people want kids, some people don't want kids. I think a lot of people have kids before they even think about it. Honestly, the older we get, the more happy and reaffirmed we are with our choice to not have kids.
Low birth rates is a much bigger risk to civilization than global warming.
We don't need to have children. We find that our own happiness is more important, our own mental health is more important.
Why is it that American couples don't want to have kids?
If I had a child, I think a lot of other things would fall short in my life.
An increasing percentage of American couples are not only childless, but do not intend on having children in the future.
You're going to get divorced. She's going to take the kids. She's going to take your money. There is no net benefit.
What we face is population collapse.
Why don't you want kids? Because they're annoying. It's a lot of responsibility. They cost a lot of money. It's like the list goes on.
That the shrinking population, an unprecedented economic crisis.
Giving up your body, like, is it worth it?
Could I actually make a happy person? To our future sons and daughters, you transcend politics. You are more than our survival. You are our joy.
The one unalloyed source of joy in your life is your children, and to watch them have grandchildren. Nothing will bring you joy like that will. Nothing comes close.
How do we find you and overcome our fears and doubts? To plant the seeds of trees whose shade we'll never know. Because the future belongs to those who show up. Click on the link above to get your ticket today.
Okay, so that was the ad for NatalCon. And did you notice anything? What did you notice? I'll tell you what I noticed. In the first section, when they're talking about like, I just don't want any kids and I want to be child free, and they're showing the representation of child free and what that looks like and how they're like portraying it to be, which is everything is dark and dingy, and the couple who are child free are like killing each other and like fighting in the kitchen, and everything is dark and the only thing is the main thing that's represented is if you are child free, you are going to be in bed doom scrolling because you have nothing else going on because you've no kids, so you're just in bed doom scrolling, being depressed. You're in the bathtub pulling out your hair, thinking of ending it all because you have no purpose in life, or you're just going to be out drinking all the time. It's like, are those your only options? Really? Those are your only options. If you choose not to have kids, all you can do with your time is contemplate the end of your life and go out partying and drinking all day, all night, or scroll on your phone. Like, those are your only options if you are deciding not to have children. And then when it swaps to like the second half of the ad, when it's talking about like the children, these are the people who chose to have children, and everything gets really bright and colorful and the music changes, and now all of a sudden because you've decided to have kids, you are rolling around the sheets with some absolute hot babe, and everything in your life just makes sense, and you and your partner are just like besties again now, because when you were child free you were killing each other, and now these are the couple that have decided to have kids that are just like everything's so perfect, and you're walking hand in hand with the love of your life with your baby through a field of wheat at sunset. This is how it's being represented in this ad, which is it's just so bad. It's just so terrible. And it's not good marketing at all. And I'm surprised that they sold any tickets, but there you go. People are really easily influenced, I think. But it's so hard to picture someone seeing that ad and being like, yeah, I need to be there. Yeah, of course my life is going to be filled with doom scrolling and suicidal ideation and depression and drinking 24/7 if I don't have a child. And then as soon as I have my child, everything is going to become sunny and colourful, and I'm going to be walking through a field of wheat with my dream husband and our perfect baby at sunset. It's like, are these accurate representations of what it's like to be child free? And are these accurate representations of what it's like to have a child? I don't think either of these things are accurate, but I'm sure there are some people out there who will say, well, my life was really dark and dingy and I didn't have purpose or whatever, and then I had my kids and then everything turned really colourful. So maybe there are some people out there who this is actually an accurate representation of the way it all laid out for you. So whatever, never say never. Maybe I'm just being a cynical bitch, but I just think that ad is it's almost comedy. It's almost comedy in my opinion. But anyway, I think Elon Musk posted about NatalCon and then it like doubled the numbers of the people who went. So Elon Musk is one of the most famous people who are like advocating for this pro-natal movement or whatever. So Elon Musk himself has, I think, 14 or 15 kids with 4 different women or something. And I just want to say something about Elon Musk. Elon Musk, I'm going to leave a link to a podcast down below that Matt Bernstein made about Grimes and everything that she has gone through in her life and everything that has led her to where she is now, being in custody battle with Elon Musk. And he took the child from her for over 5 months. She did not see her child, whatever that baby's name is, that has like the really long, stupid name. Their first kid, I think, together, he took that child off her and like buried her in legal things. I know she's a millionaire, but he's a bazillionaire. So there's like a really big difference there. And apparently he like completely, suffocated her in like legalities and stuff and kind of stole the child from her when they were having their custody battle. If you treat the mother of your children badly, you are not a good dad. Let me just say that, okay? Are any of us out here actually thinking that Elon Musk is like this amazing dad who's like playing football with the kids or like going to any of his children's like dance recitals or competitions or something? Absolutely fucking not. I'm sure he just like sends out checks to everyone and that's kind of it. And anyway, if you treat the mother of your children bad, you are not a good dad. You are not a good dad. That's what I'm just going to say. But anyway, Elon Musk wants us to have loads of babies. So let's hear what Elon Musk says.
There's nothing greater than having a kid. I get more joy in my life for my kids than anything else, and that's generally true of all humans. In fact, if that is how we evolved. It is a very natural thing that you will love your children. So in fact, having a child will make you happier than anything else in your life ever.
What is he actually saying? Like literally, like having kids is going to make you so much happier than anything, and it's just natural that you love your children. Why are people clapping for him? Like, why? As if he just discovered something. Like, humans love their children. What are you actually saying? Again, I doubt this man even knows all of the names of his own children, let alone actually fucking loves them. Sorry. Sorry, but like, does he actually know the name of all of his children? Does he love and respect their mothers? Does he actually love and respect his children? The answer is no, because one of his kids transitioned. Vivian transitioned, and I saw her on TikTok, and her dad does not like her at all. So there you go. There's just one example of him definitely not loving and respecting his children, and there's evidence of him not loving and respecting his children's mothers and putting immense pressure and stress on his child's mom, on one of his children's mothers. So let's not take advice from Elon Musk, please. But One of the things I wanted to talk about as well is that a lot of the people in this political movement are tech CEOs, billionaires, politicians, conservative politicians or whatever, and they are so scared of things changing. They're so scared of the economic climate changing. They're so scared that like all of the structures that keep them up at the top are going to change, and they're trying to instill this fear in us that like things are going to change, there's not going to be any more social welfare, who's going to look after your parents when they die, and they're trying to like make all of us really scared that things are going to change. But I actually think the reason why they're pushing so hard for this movement is that they are scared that things are going to change for them. I think the way things are set up right now doesn't work for most people. Like most people are not thriving. Like most people, most average humans just in society are not thriving, and not that many people are very happy. And I don't think it would be a bad thing for things to change for us. And I don't believe millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires, CEOs, AI company owners, conservative politicians, I don't believe them when they say that it's in our best interest that we do this thing. But I believe it's in their best interest, and they're just convincing us that we should also care too. Sorry, that's what I think.
But politically, the vibe is firmly right-wing.
The marginal people need to go back to the margins.
We want to raise families. The left is raising pride flags over cat shelters.
In 2024 actually did have a slight uptick in births. Bad news. It was just the anchor babies from the illegal immigrants.
Okay, so those were some speakers at the Natal Con, and I'm sure not all of these pro-natalist people are also white supremacy people and are also just plain racist. I'm sure not all of them. So I think they're all weirdos for sure. And these are definite examples of people who are just scared of white people losing their position at the top in numbers. And it reminds me so much of, when there are, not all men obviously, but like there are men out there, mostly conservative men, that are really worried or concerned or whatever that if women had as much privilege as men, that women would seek some sort of revenge on men, or women would start treating men the way that men have historically treated women, which is just not true. And it was the same in like apartheid South Africa, when the white South Africans did not want to free their black slaves because they were absolutely convinced that the black people, once they were freed from their enslavement, would enact some sort of revenge and would treat the white people the way that the white people had historically treated the black people. And I feel like this is kind of the same thing. I feel like these white people in America who are pushing this idea of like white nationalism, and they're scared to lose their position at the top because they know how they've been treating, they know historically and up to this day how they've been treating marginalized people and minorities and people of color and immigrants. They know how they've been treating them, and they are so scared that the minorities, the marginalized people, the people who are a step lower than them in terms of like privilege, they're worried how they are going to be treated if white people lose their position at the top and minorities or marginalized people actually go a step above it. But that doesn't tend to happen. Like that actually doesn't tend to happen usually. And it's like what Israel is saying about Palestine. It's like we have to kill them all because they're going to seek revenge on us, because they're going to treat us the same way that we've treated them. That's why we can't give them any freedom. That's why we can't take the risk. We have to just kill them all because they're going to do the same thing to us that we've been doing to them. And actually, like, historically, that doesn't happen. That does not tend to happen. But I wanted to read a few articles. There's an article here. Where is it? I have an article. Actually, I think I've spoken enough about this. I don't want to read any more articles. I'm going to leave everything linked below. All of my like sources, all of my information, like all of these videos or whatever. I'll leave everything linked below if you want to go and look up more stuff about all of these weirdos. But in the next chapter, we're going to be talking about child-free content and the women who are choosing to stay child-free. And we're going to talk about what does the data actually say. Who is happier overall? Women who get married and have kids, or women who intentionally stay child-free? So I'll see you there. So there has been a huge rise in people that are making child-free content online. So I just want to say there's a few different ways that people have arrived at being child-free. There's people who cannot have children for medical reasons, but they still actually really, really wanted to have kids, but they've had to accept the fact that they cannot have children. There are also people out there who have decided that they do not want kids. Maybe they are actually physically able to have kids or medically able to have kids, but they have made the decision themselves to intentionally not have any children. The reason why I think that people making child-free content is a good thing is because it is not represented at all. So like, think about when you're a kid and when you're watching movies or TV shows or anything. The only single or childless women that were represented were like old hags or witches or like crazy cat ladies. And I think that the thing that was most represented was meeting a man and falling in love and having children and like living together and all this kind of stuff. So I actually think it's a really, really positive thing that there are alternative ways to exist and those are being represented. And most of the time, the child-free women are not telling other people to not have children. They're also not in a competition with women who have children. It's not like us versus them. And it's not like I'm a woman who has a child and I don't feel at all like they are trying to tell me that their life is better than mine. And I'm not trying to tell them that my life is better than theirs. I just think it's a really, really good thing that it is represented and that there's people out there who are like, hey, I'm 42. I've never had children. This is what my life looks like. This is what my life looks like. And it's not bad. It isn't a bad thing. I'm not at home crying that I didn't put my uterus to use or I didn't fulfill my duties as a woman or whatever. I'm on a boat in Greece. Things are fine. And I think that's a really, really, I think it's amazing that's represented. And there are also child-free women out there who are saying like, don't have children or whatever. But most of the content that I see is women literally just like, this is what my life looks like. There are so many people in the comment sections of these women's posts who will say things like, my life didn't begin and I didn't know what love was until I had kids, and oh, I feel so sorry for you, like you're gonna get to 50 and then regret it all and blah 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 blah. And like, I hate that, to be honest. And then I even saw a comment of someone saying like, this goes against nature, like it goes against nature for a woman to choose not to have children. And I actually think that the way that we live full stop goes against nature. Like it completely goes against nature. And I'm going to talk about that more in the next section. But so I just wanted to watch a few videos of some of the content that women are creating about choosing to stay child-free.
13 reasons that I love being child-free. 1, I'm a girl who needs her sleep and I love getting 8 hours uninterrupted sleep every single night. 2, hear that? Yeah, it's quiet. My house is peaceful and quiet all the time. 3, I never have to share or hide my snacks. 4, if I wanted to move to a different part of the country or an entirely different country, I could do that whenever I wanted. No worrying about schools. 5, my work only has to support me. If I want to make a change, I can do that. I don't have people relying on me for my income. 6, if I put something down, I don't have to worry about it still being there when I come back to it. Everything stays where it's supposed to be in my house. 7, if I wanted to go on holiday last minute, I can do that. I don't have to worry about school or childcare. 8, I don't have to go through pregnancy. 9, I don't have to go through childbirth. 10, disposable income. 11, I don't have to take a kid with me everywhere I go. 12, I have control over my own time and resources. I don't have to do things that I don't want to do. For example, after school kids clubs. 13, if I'm tired or run down or feeling a little bit low, I don't have to worry about caring for anyone else. I can focus on my own self-care and my own recovery.
So as you can imagine, there are always going to be people in the comment sections of those types of videos being like, you're so selfish, and why shouldn't she be selfish? Why is that such a bad thing? Why do we want to see women being endlessly selfless and endlessly self-sacrificing? And even then still, when women choose to become mothers, you will be criticized so much, times that by 10 if you're a single mom. So you are criticizing, people will criticize you no matter what the fuck you do. People will call you selfish, and they will call you all sorts of names if you make content like this, being like, hey, these are the reasons why I have chosen not to have kids. These are the benefits that I experience in my life because I have made the decision not to have kids. People will rip you down for that decision. And also, if you are a mom, if you're a single mom, be prepared to be ripped down as well. Be prepared to be criticized and scrutinized for not ever being good enough. So no matter what women choose to do, we will be scrutinized and we will be penalized in some way, shape or form. And anyway, so I just want to say that. Let's watch another video. And also I just want to say, it's so weird to me as a mother. It's so weird to me how other mothers can see this type of content and get so fucking triggered by it. I don't understand. If you feel the need to come into someone's comment section being like, I am the happiest I've ever been since I've become a mother, like, are you really? Like, do you actually need to defend yourself that much if you know that it's true? I'm always just really like, I love these videos. I love when I hear women celebrating the choices that they've made. And I also love being a mom, and I don't feel the need to be like, yeah, well, you'll never know happiness until you have a kid. And it's just like, there's just no need for it. Like, I don't know. Let's watch another one.
What's something you'll get a lot of hate for if you say it out loud?
That people who don't want kids actually understand the implications of having and raising a child and view children as little humans who will eventually form their own thoughts, feelings, morals, ethics, and sense of identity, and not as pawns who can fill whatever emotional need you may or may not have.
So I love this take as well, that a lot of people who have chosen to remain child-free have actually thought of all of the pros and cons. They have actually thought of the implications of having a child, raising a child, and the fact that that baby will grow up to become a child, the fact that that child will grow up to become a teenager, the fact that that teenager will grow up to become an adult, and have also taken into consideration how expensive it is to just exist as people here. And do we have enough money? Do we have enough resources? Do we have safety, security? How's the housing situation? And I think that that a lot of times people will have children, not everyone obviously, like I know people who are like meant to be parents. There are people that are put on this earth that are absolutely meant to reproduce, and that is what they are here for. They are meant to be parents, they're meant to be dads, they're meant to be moms, and they cannot wait for it, and they've thought about it, and they're so excited about it. And a lot of people, that's amazing. And there are also people out there who just have kids because they want a baby. They just have kids because they think that's what you're supposed to do. And I think a lot of times child-free people who have thought for years and years and years about all of the implications of having children, they potentially care more about these children, these hypothetical children that they don't even have yet. They care so much about them that they're like, I'm going to do you a favor and I'm not going to bring you into this world. And I saw content like that as well, being like, I love my daughter so much that I'm never going to give birth to her, or something like that. And that they don't want to bring children into this world when they know they don't have enough money or resources or like energy. They know that the conditions are not favorable to have children right now. Not everyone. Some people's conditions are great. Some people have really good jobs, lots of savings, they own their own home, they have security, and they have a great partner and stuff. But that isn't the case for everyone. And I think it's, yeah, anyway, let's watch another one.
I'm child-free, and the freedom it gives me, not only in my finances, but my entire life, is something I wouldn't trade for the world. If I'm in a toxic job, I can just quit. No worrying about my child's healthcare or another mouth to feed. If I don't like where I'm living, I can just move. No worrying about my kid transferring schools or living in an area with the best school district, daycare costs, food, diapers, clothes, 529 plan. All of that gets directed to my retirement so I can stop working earlier and have freedom and choice. The birth rate panic, it's because rich people need crops of new humans to exploit so they can keep raking in billions while people are suffering. And I'm not going to give them that. Being child-free to me is freedom, and it's also an act of resistance. If they wanted me to have a child, they should have built a world I'd be proud to bring a child into.
So yeah, basically exactly what she said. That's the message that I was saying kind of in my last section as well, basically, that they're trying to convince people to have children while doing absolutely nothing to make that decision easier for people or to make it more desirable or supportive for women to actually have children. They're putting so much energy into convincing us. They're trying to like push this idea that they're thinking about us. They're just thinking about our happiness. It has nothing to do with the fact that they would like to stay billionaires or whatever. No, absolutely not. They're just thinking about us. How lucky are we? But yeah, I think it's amazing that there's women making this type of content. And like, there, of course, as I said, there are women out there who are making content that are like, never have children, never have babies. And I don't think that's really helpful or useful either. And for me, I don't think that's helpful or useful. I think like seeing these examples of women that are building their careers, that have financial freedom, that are going to be able to retire early because they haven't had children and they've been able to like put away more money than a mother would. And I think that's really good to have that represented as well. It's really good to see the different ways that we get to exist, and it doesn't all have to look the same. And there's no right, there's no wrong. There's no way for there's no one path that's going to like suit everyone or whatever. There's only what's best for you, and there's only what's best for me. And I don't think that it makes sense that every single woman on earth has to have children.
Matriarchy requires that not all women are mothers. Under patriarchy, every woman is raised to believe that it's their destiny to become a mother and that their life is wasted if they don't become a mother. But when women actually become mothers under patriarchy, they're isolated and receive little to no support. And that's on purpose, because patriarchy, in order to continue going, needs women to be drained of energy and stripped of their power. And so now we're definitely going to see a huge uptick of right-wing patriarchal conservatives trying to force or encourage more women to become mothers while also not doing anything to change policies around affordable childcare or maternity leave, because they don't want women to have political or economic power. That's why we need to create matriarchy, because it's not enough to try to beat them at their own game. Like, they have control over everything at this point. We need to create matriarchy, which is an entirely different system that doesn't need them at all. For that to happen, there needs to be women who are not mothers, because we can't all be knee-deep in exploitative care work. In a matriarchal society, people who create are honoured. The highest honour is to create a human being, but we create all the time. We create art, gardens, we create relationships and love with each other, and that also matters.
So that is Young Matriarch. I found her on TikTok last year, and she's also on Substack. I'll leave everyone's things linked below anyway if you wanted to go and check them out. But let's have a look at some of the research. Like, what does the research actually say? I found really conflicting research when I was trying to look into this. I found that there are different studies. One study said that mothers are twice as likely to be happy than women who chose not to have children. And then I found another study that says that women who choose to live alone are happier, and the study found that unmarried childless women were the happiest population of all. So there is actually a lot of conflicting information out there. So it was kind of hard to find a definitive answer. But I think what this kind of means is, based on whoever they chose to do that study on, those particular people, it was just what worked best for them. There's no definitive answer. Maybe I don't really know. I think what makes mothers happy, I'm just going to say what I think makes mothers happy, and what would make women actually want to have more children would be a really good partner. Not just someone who's like helping with the kids, their own children, someone who is actually like a partner, an equal partnership that could share the emotional load and also like the load of the domestic labor and the work that goes into having a child, raising a child. Obviously, if the mother is breastfeeding and stuff, like there's certain things that like he can't do, but to kind of balance it out in other ways. To apparently, when a woman has a baby, her partner stresses her out twice as much as the actual baby does. So I think another thing that would make motherhood easier and more supportive is to have affordable and accessible childcare. So in Ireland, I think it's like between 1,000 and 2,000 a month for childcare. You would have to have a really good job to have an extra €2,000 just to have your child minded. Also, the spaces are really, really, really limited. Usually people are signing their children up for childcare while the baby is still in the early stages of pregnancy. Like it's kind of fucked up. Like it's really fucked up that there's that much pressure on childcare and daycare places and creches and stuff, that they're like, you need to have your baby enrolled before it's even fucking born. But you will never hear pro-natalists talking about how to actually make motherhood more desirable for women and how to actually make motherhood more supportive for women. They literally just keep pushing this idea that it's a woman's duty and it's her highest honor and it's her purpose or whatever. And it's basically just unpaid, unrecognized, unacknowledged and unappreciated labor, and they just call it tradition and they call it purpose. I found this other study as well, which is I'll leave everything linked below. A lot of the pronatalist people and a lot of these people who are pushing this like mom life content or whatever, they will say you will regret it if you don't have children. So actually the research doesn't really back that up. Between 5 and 14% of parents say that they would choose to be childless if they could go back. 1 in 12 parents currently regret having kids. That can go up to 13%, and the strongest predictors of regret are pretty much exactly what you would expect, which is financial pressure, mental health struggles, and lack of social support. Okay, so those are the reasons why people will regret having children. It isn't actually the children themselves. People aren't like, I hate this kid, get this kid away from me. People love their children and they probably love being mothers and being fathers, but the financial strain, the mental health struggles, and the lack of social support, these are all things that could actually be brought into like law. There could be like actual legal supports and legislative supports in place and social supports in place to help people with this, so that they would not regret their decision to have children and would probably decide to have more children if they knew that they would be supported. So that's another reason why these pronatalists are always blaming feminism on why women are choosing to not have children, when actually it has nothing to do with feminism causing women to like not have children. It's feminism that's calling out the unfairness. It's feminism that is calling out that unfortunately, men most of the time, a lot of the time, some of the time, whatever, do not make great partners for women and are not actually that helpful when it comes to the mental load, the emotional load, the domestic labor, whatever. And feminists will point this out. Feminism will inform women and give women a lot of information, and women then will make better decisions for themselves based on that information. And this is why women are being blamed and why feminism is being blamed. But the question is not why are women not having as many kids. The question is why are a lot of men, workplaces, governments, why are they not creating the conditions where parenting is shared, supported, and more sustainable and desirable? That is the actual question. So there is this phenomenon in nature called reproductive strategy, which is basically where animals gauge the environment before they risk pregnancy. So when food is scarce, or when there's too many predators near, or when the conditions are not favorable in whatever way, many species do not breed. So rabbits actually reabsorb their embryos if there is a drought. Birds, a lot of birds will skip a season if the territory is overcrowded, and orcas will stop calving when the salmon runs start to collapse or when they notice that there's not enough food. They literally stop having babies. This isn't because of selfishness. This is actually just a survival instinct that is built into a lot of animals. So bringing young into an unsafe world is not a good choice to make. I think a lot of humans would probably like to think that we are above this like animal brain or whatever, but maybe not. I don't know. Obviously our environment looks a little bit different, but we're thinking about like economic safety. We're thinking about like the rent situation, the housing crisis, how difficult it is to secure a home in this economy. We're thinking about like the cost of childcare. We're thinking about our job security. There's also relational safety. Like if you're with a partner who you know is not going to be the best father, or someone who doesn't take you seriously emotionally, someone who is abusive, someone who is emotionally abusive, someone who has a history of not being reliable or not being predictable or stable or consistent, someone who you know is going to not make your life any easier if you have a baby. So we also have to think about social safety. So we have to think about not having great maternity leave. We have to think about, again, the rising, some people in other countries have to think about unaffordable house care and all of the political unrest that will signal to us, that could be signaling to us that this is not a suitable place. This is not a good place to bring a baby into. This is not a good option right now. And also, I forgot to mention as well, the orangutans actually have the longest in between birth intervals of any animals, sometimes up to 8 years or over 8 years, because the mother orangutan will wait for the forest fruit levels to return back to normal before she knows that it's safe to bring another baby into the world. So they can wait up to 8 years or over 8 years before the levels of fruit get replenished from the forest, and only then will she decide that she's ready to mate again. There is another study here that I'm just going to reference, which is basically anthropologists that have long observed that famine, war, or economic shocks reduce human conception rates. Another study here, UN Population Division reports consistently find that fertility rises in countries with higher gender equality, paid leave, and affordable childcare. Okay, so I think I'm going to leave that there for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I have more videos planned for the next few weeks. Thank you for giving me a little bit of space to take some time off while I did whatever. Anyway, I will be back. And just to reiterate the message again, I'm not trying to convince women to have children. I'm also not trying to convince women to not have children. I think the best thing to do for everyone is to get as much information as possible. And the only thing you can do is whatever is right for you. And that will be the right thing. It won't be right that you have kids or don't have kids or whatever. The only thing that is right is what is best for you. So thank you for joining me here, and I will see you on the next video.